What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ominous Show. This is Ominous on Responsible Gaming for episode of Ominous Design. Today, in episode 164, you will see. Well, first, let's say today apparently is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's to all of ya. Yours truly is in a long distance relationship, so I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you tonight, and today there is a reason. There is a reason to the madness of the title. Today we're going to the moon, based on I'm listening to a bunch of Idle Thumbs, which is an amazing podcast about video games for the most part, and they've been poking a bit of fun at the JFK speech. About going to the moon. And why do we go to the moon? Because it's hard. And what we're going to do tonight is something that people constantly are telling us cannot be done. And we're going to try and do it anyways. So, without further ado, we're going to make a mechanic today. And this mechanic is going to be based on morph. So, I'm going to be copying that mechanic over here. And I don't know how it's gonna call. I don't think I want to call it impersonate, but it does work, so we're gonna call it that for now. The reason why I don't want to call it impersonate is that it's gonna be slightly complex potentially, so I don't want to pick a complex word, and it's not particularly complex, but just a little bit. You may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Potentially, yes. Turn it face up anytime for its morph cost. That is not indeed correct. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, I almost had it. Well, let's see. First I'm just gonna write it that way so that you know what we're talking about. At any moment, or how do we say that again? I'll check the template of that. Yeah, I forgot. Well, we'll check on a manifest. At any moment, you can. That's actually slightly more complex than I thought. So what I want to do. Okay, I'm just gonna word it poorly so that you know what we're talking about. We can. Exile it. If you do, you may actually, for its whatever cost, by paying its, we can exile it by paying its impersonate cost. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost until end of turn. So we're definitely gonna have to revisit this wording a bunch, and actually I might just not do that online, we'll see. And that's the kind of not so great part. And we'll reword that as well. If this card would go to anywhere, how do we say that? Change the zone. Well, I forgot about that as well. I think there is a template for changing zone, and basically what I want to say is if this card would change zone. So if this card would go to anywhere from the battlefield, put it into its control graveyard instead. So not so great so far, but we're gonna revisit this. The point, actually you still don't know what the point is, do you? The point is, I'm gonna create a card over here. I'm gonna say impersonate, I don't know. I don't know what card I'm doing yet, but to you. Say what now? To you. Yeah, it's pretty brutal, isn't it? It's a bit of a reminder text. And like twist, Menam Shimalamalayan twist. Look at this. No power, no toughness. It's an instant. So let's just. I have no idea. We're gonna try and make a bounce spell. Return target creature into its owner's hand. And I don't know. I'm feeling like it's gonna make more sense to do this into their owner's hands. Sweet. So most likely this is gonna be like, I have no idea. Actually, that costs a bunch of money, does it? A bunch of mana to do such thing. Potentially 4 if you want an instant speed. So the idea is some type of wind. The idea is we have an instant, we can cast it, okay? And that thing that is taboo, that is impossible to do ever, is impersonate. Put an instant on the battlefield. And how do we do that? We do that by allowing it to be a morph, supposedly. And this morph will be castable by not just like putting it directly on the stack, but by exiling it and say you can cast this now, basically. So if I pay the impersonate cost, I'm exiling the thing from my battlefield, I'm putting it face up in exile, and now I'm allowed to cast it. I paid, so that's fine, and that follows the rules as far as, I mean, there's no reason it wouldn't follow the rule. Now, other problem with putting instant and sorceries onto the battlefield is that if somebody would flip them, return them to your hand, not really return to your hand, but flip them in any way, they would die. Now, now I realize one thing, and we might have just failed horribly right there. So this protects against this because if this card would go to anywhere from the battlefield, put it into its control graveyard instead. That way, you're trying to flip it, you're trying to exile it, blink it, everything's okay. Problem: can we? What happens if when you say turn things face up? For example, so let's see, turn face up, what's that, onslaught? I think it's onslaught, and the color is going to be red, because I think you can basically tell cards to be turned face up. Unfortunately, turn target face down creature an opponent controls face up. Good news, this wouldn't... Wait a second. No, target face down creature, not face up. Yeah, no, that does work. I'm assuming. I wonder what that means. Face down creature. Does that mean... Huh. Let's see. Let's look at the ruling. Because do you have to know... Does it mean that a morph or a manifest is a... Oh, weird. Break open. You know what I mean? Can you target a manifest card that isn't a creature with that? That is very confusing. Great. So break open. I'm sure it's been seen. Break open, manifest. Break open and manifest. Crack open and manifest. If a manifest permanent represented by an instant sorcery would be turned face up, its control reveals it and leave it face down. Abilities that would trigger whenever permanent face up does not trigger. What? That is so random. And basically, this is what would save us. Because apparently manifest already protects itself from that. We're going to protect ourselves from that by the same, by implying that we have the same ruling. Oh, I know my camera is kind of screwy now. Let's just do this. You don't need to see my bed. There you go. So this is gonna save us because, like I said, it protects manifest from forcing to turn up a instant or sorcery that's been manifested, and it's gonna prevent somebody to turn our instant or sorcery that's been manifested. Perfect. I really thought that we had a big flow in our theory over here, and I think we do not. So, are you ready for a little bit of a template rework? No, you know what? It's not important. It's not interesting. I think I figured that we're more or less gonna have this mechanic as it is. It's gonna turn into probably a manifest type of creature, which is great because it kind of tells you that everything that's face down is a 2/2, approximately for 3 mana, maybe for 2 in the case of manifest on average, but I think it's a great callback. I think everything that's face down is a 2/2, vanilla colorless nothing. I think that's fantastic. We're gonna work around the mana cost around that, and we're gonna try and make cards that are interesting based on that. Now, what was I gonna say? The way it's worded is not gonna change the mechanics, so I'm not gonna go there. Now, what do we want? What type of spell do we want that can be a creature for less? I think this might be fun. I think this might definitely be fun. You have so you don't have the mana and you don't particularly have the target. There you go. You have a creature in the beginning of the game. Why not? Then when do you transfer your 2/2 and make it into bounce creatures? It's a little bit harder to see because I am personally a fan of returning creatures into their owner's hand for tempo deck, not for control deck. So transforming your creature into bounce is a little bit more effy. One thing that I thought of, and I'm just reminding myself right at the moment. Water. Is do you remember when they revisited Manifest in Kanzotark here? They introduced the convention that a morph cost would be 5 or more, and they would bounce off each other. And I think the rule is rare and uncommon. No, not even uncommon. Rares can win the fight, and rares can also have a morph cost that's less. I think something like that. And I think we should maybe strive to do something similar. But I thought that, and then what did I think in terms of? Basically, I think what I told myself is, you can have an impersonate or whatever cost that is lower than X only if you're uncommon. And why is that? I guess the only thing that matters here is that if they would want to remove it with a spell, you couldn't blow them out by just transforming your creature into an instant or sorcery right under their feet. That being said, they would have to be very, very aggressive to want to target your manifested spell just because. I mean, I guess they know that they're gonna get you down a card. Not really, it's a 1/1. They just would decide that, oh, it is great that I can have this removal that will actually counter your spell, so to speak. So they would still have to be pretty aggressive to even want to do such thing. But people do, and it might turn out that the impersonate spells are very cool by some dynamic that is very hard to predict without playtesting, and plus depending on the text of the card. So I still think I want to protect against enabling blowing out the people who do decide to remove the creature, or maybe attack into it is not a big problem. But still, you don't want too much mystery on the board that can do things that are completely out of the blue without you knowing for random prices. That's what they discovered with Morph in Onslaught. If you don't know the story, there used to be in Onslaught creatures for about the same Unmorph cost. One of them was a 3/1 first strike, so if you block it, you're screwed. And another one was a 2/2 that if you don't block it, it deals 2 damage to one of your creatures, so you're screwed if you don't block it. That was terrible, and you had no idea, apart from the fact that the person decided to attack you. But why wouldn't they? They put you on a 50-50 to lose a creature for free. So that's the story. So I still think, at the very least, we'll have to restrict the cheap ones to uncommon. Now, how much would you pay for return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand? Let's try and figure that out. So I'm gonna go here and we're gonna say return up to 2 creature. Return up to 2 creatures. That should be about enough. We're gonna look for a blue spell. Instant, exile up to, no. Sorcery, return up to 2 creatures into the owner's hand. That's 4 at sorcery speed. So I'm not against sorcery speed here. That's also an uncommon. So pretty, it's more expensive than I expected. Return up to 2 target creatures to the owner's hand. 6 mana? What a world. Okay, I'm a little confused because I used to be a huge fan of Seagate's Revenge, which was amazing, but it was also 6. Seagate's... That's Seagate's Revenge? No, Sea God's Revenge. That makes more sense. Sea God's Revenge was 6 mana, 3 creatures, cry 1. Amazing. This one, on the other hand, whoops, where am I? Oh, it's an instant. Sure. Okay. I don't think I need this to be an instant. It makes how you can play around with Impersonate less good because your creature can die and then you can use your sorcery. But I think that might be fine. So how about that? Sorcery. So sorcery exists, and this is Into the Void. Into the Void, I'm a little surprised that it's an uncommon. Should I be? No, not really. It's great to bounce 2 creatures. So does that mean that I should augment cost here? I could say that this costs 5 sorcery. 5 for sorcery speed is just kind of crap. Or it could be instant, potentially. 5 instant speed might be okay, even though I know actually What a World costs 6, so maybe forget about that. So 5 gets us into... I mean, maybe it's still 5 as a sorcery because of the flexibility. It's a little disappointing though. Oh shit, sorry. There you go. So, and as I switch the screen, I'm actually back to Gatherer. Into the Void, uncommon, reasonably fun to play, I assume. I haven't really played all that much. I haven't played any of those formats very much at all. So I actually don't even know. I mean, actually it's sorcery speed, so you really want to be tempo to play this. So it might not be that exciting. So I'm gonna try my luck and leave it at 4. 4 or 6 in 2 times. I think that might be okay. It kind of depends. One thing it depends is Is the wording gonna help me impersonate at instant speed when the spell is sorcery? In which case, we'll definitely have a good card on our hand, because if this becomes instant speed, this is amazing. You could almost claim that it's worth paying the exact same cost plus the 3 just to have the instant speedness of it. And that would offer some pretty interesting design space, but I think I would still try and push it to make it an exciting card. What the hell just happened? Stop it. Holy crap. Okay, I just broke the world. I would still probably try and push it like this. This might be your surprise for tomorrow. I think I'll need some time to just think if I want to the impersonate to change the instant speed or the speed at which you can cast the spell. To be honest, I think it's going to largely depend on how I can word it. But I'll give a thought. I'll give thoughts to doing both. Okay, I'll try and do either. We'll see what happens. Now, there is something. No, I guess there's a couple things we can do. So, how about we try and do something else now? How about something that I think I would like to do is I'm gonna give you a surprise. What's the card? This surprise. Okay. You ready? Are you ready? Boom. Untap target creature, gain control of it until end turn. That creature gets haste until end of turn. So we're gonna start with that base. And to be honest, I think we might stay there. Why not? You know, this is a creature that can turn into a threaten effect. So one thing that I want to know is, or remember at least, is are cards better than threaten nowadays, or are they threaten with upside and downside for the most part? I think that's gonna work. So let's try this one. Eldrazi Obligator, no, not really. This one can control, so instant speed with Madness, or 1 more mana for +2/+0. Well, I guess +2/+2 in Madness as well. So that's upside and downside though. Mark of Mutiny is only downside. Oh no, +1/+1 when you attack, but also you give it back with a +1/+1. What else do we have? Treacherous Instinct, 4 mana with upside. So 4 mana with upside is pretty common. I was hoping I could find something that's 3 mana and that's recent. Act of Treason, exactly the same. Oh, so there's you know what? For some reason I thought there was 3 mana in recent threaten effects. But unless the wording changed, I guess not. 4 mana, gain control target creature, untap the creature, gain haste and menace. 4 mana with upside. Okay, so 4 mana with upside is kind of where it's at. So what I could see is, for this one, I think I could see basically this. 3 mana, impersonate. No, impersonate maybe 2 in one. If not even less. But no, I think like that is pretty fine. And that's all I have to say about it. I mean, this is 4 mana for a pretty darn boring spell. Excuse me again. This is hard to think about all the time. And actually, you know what? No, maybe not a good idea. Yeah, we're back. Well, actually, there you go. That'll probably be a little easier for me to manage on the same screen. So Yes, so 4 mana for a threaten effect, that is pretty boring, but if you decide to try your luck and put it as a creature on the board that might die, though it will most likely be your choice, because I don't think people should target those impersonate cards and try and remove them, because that might cost them too much. Well, especially if we decide that they can be instant speed. So all of that is going to make checks and balances. But you can also have your threaten back for the same price, so you had both. But that being said, the thing that's kind of not, well, a little bit bothering me is that it's very hard to get both sides. You can have either, which I guess is already a good thing, but it's very hard to have a creature, use that creature, which means attack or block, and then be able to transform it into something, right? Because if it attacks or blocks, it's only a 2/2, it's most likely dead. So there's only a couple things. You can attack in your opponents having no blockers. You can threaten to attack and threaten to block. And you can also, if we decide again to give it instant speed, you could attack or block and then decide to transform into a creature. So there's all those things to figure out. But there's a little bit of tension here. Can you actually really use both? Again, if you cannot, at the very least you have a choice. So that's pretty cool. Talking a lot. So again, I'll have to give a thought to, do we want to enable instant speed? In this particular case over here, it makes the card very fun. You might actually bump it to 1 and 1 red, because instant speed threaten effect are so much better. But also it would reward you for having jumped through the hoops. You know, you paid the 3 to make a creature, now you can have your instant speed threaten. In that way, it would be very similar to our friend over here, Malevolent Whispers, because when you jump through the hoops, it still costs 4, which is also maybe the cost I should have, but you jump through the hoops so you can have it instant speed. Well, actually, over here you also get +2/+1. Which I will tell you as well, potentially doesn't matter as much, because when you do a threaten instant speed, what you want to do is steal a creature to block another creature. So usually you might not need a +2/+0 to make that work, but it might be easier to have the 2 of them die if you do. So nah, I give you information, draw your own conclusions. I'm not even gonna draw the conclusion. So I think that mostly works, like I said, with a plus minus based on do we want instant speed. And since it's Valentine's and I do love you guys, we're gonna do another one, and those are pretty easy to make as well, so that's kind of why. How about destroy target creature? What else can I say? Destroy target creature. So most likely this is gonna be costing probably like black, and I don't really know. It might cost, again, if it's instant speed, it's probably still 3 and a black, instant speed, destroy a creature. That sounds more or less reasonable. This one is dangerous because nah, not even that much. 3 and a black, instant speed, destroy target creature is acceptable. We've seen 3 and a black, instant speed, exile a creature in Battle for Zendikar, so that should be at least somewhat acceptable. Still, I think it would be a great card. Now the question becomes, are people going to try and destroy your impersonate creature? In which case, it is very important that we figure out whether or not it can be instant speed, because if people do decide to destroy your impersonate creature and we do not give instant speed, then impersonating is risky. It's very risky because you might just lose your spell and all you did was casting a 2/2 for 3. But why would they target them? that's going to be based on, are they great? Are they great cards? Which for the uncommons are pretty good cards, or they're good. Yeah, I mean the red and the blue, I'm actually not certain. This one is a good card if it's left alive, and it's also going to be based on, is there commons that are less good, because just as with manifest, usually you don't target the manifest cards because you have no idea what you're targeting. You might be targeting a land and you kind of wasted your time on a 2/2. With the impersonate cards, yeah, depends how many of them there is, and if you can predict it's going to be a great effect that you want to avoid or not, is what I think. Okay, listen, I'll give you one extra, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make colors and etc. But it's just so easy. So we're gonna have 1 green sorcery. I have to check. I think restore target. Whoa, I'm sorry. What? Restore target RT effect or creature. And the impersonate is probably going to be like, honestly, like a green. I don't know, maybe 1 and a green, because you're getting your 2/2 for 3. Have at it. It kind of depends again if we want to be instant sorcery, but even there, like 1 green instant speed destroy artifact or enchantment might be an okay reward for having spent 3 mana already. So that might be acceptable. Honestly, seeing all those things do make me want to make it so that you can actually do instant speed, because changing from sorcery to instant speed on all those effects, destroy something, threaten, and also the bounce. I mean, there's so many effects that are so much cooler and so much fun to I mean, the difference between instant speed and sorcery is so palatable and so enjoyable to just get for yourself that it's I think that's worth trying to make that mechanic work. So hopefully I will be able to find a correct wording, in which case I will try and balance the spells so that they are instant speed. So this is balanced instant speed, I do think. This I think is acceptable. Instant speed, this, I don't know. The thing is, if I do this, it's actually more or less worse than Malevolence that we saw before, because Malevolence had you madness the card and you could get a +2/+0. This has you impersonate for 3 mana beforehand and doesn't have an upside. So I might leave it at a threatened cost, instant speed, maybe, and maybe even probably. Actually, once you paid on turn 3, having access to an instant speed threatener for 3 is kind of brutal. Maybe not, I don't know. I've pushed the envelope enough in recent times that this time I won't. Return 2 target creatures into their owner's hand in 2 installment. That's still kind of expensive, especially kind of cheap, especially if this is still instant speed. So I think I might leave the cost to be the same in here as well. It's kind of weird because it looks like I'm saying over here it costs a mana less, over here it costs a mana less, over here is the same cost, over here is the same cost, and I am so far. Well, okay, let's try and do something like this. 4 and 5 and 4. How's that? I think that might be okay. Because we have a sorcery that does this for 4 in Avacyn Restored, right? And now we have it for 5, but you get the option of making it a creature, and then for the same cost of 4 than in Avacyn, you get an instant speed version, which is quite a bit better. And that way we can still say we got a discount of 1 mana. For this guy over here, How about this? You know, kind of cheating over here. That's what I call cheating usually, but I think it makes it palatable. I don't love the idea of having a threaten effect too easily accessible for 3 mana at instant speed, even though you already burned 3 mana, because depending on your curve, it might not have costed you all that much to do. So that might be a little cheap, but now you need 2 red, so maybe that makes it acceptable. I don't know. You might not. Again, I think the dynamic of spending your mana on a creature that will be a spell instead, and not a creature that becomes a bigger creature, is going to be something that needs to be play tested to see if it's a big investment or not. Pretty fun though, overall, isn't it? 4 cards, I think that's gonna do it, right? 4 cards seems a good number. Hopefully I will find 4 illustrations. Thankfully all I have to do is find the illustration names and reword the mechanic a tiny little bit, but I don't know, it might be doable, especially since I think for those things I might be able to find some abstract kind of illustration, so we might be able to have 4 cards this week, which is spoiling you, but you deserve it. It's your big day. Cool. So as per usual, I'm gonna wrap those up tonight. I'm gonna put them online. Do come check them out on either Twitter or Facebook. You can see this video very soon on YouTube, and do come around on Reddit / Custom Magic, sweet subreddit. Come around, check it out. Tell me everything you need. Everything you think. Give me all the feedback, give me the comments, the likes and the subscribe, so that I know that you love what you're doing over here. And don't hesitate to comment as well when we're live designing. That can lead to some fun times and episodes that are twice as long. Thank you very much for watching. See you next week for 165. Bye bye. Play responsibly. Done.